Every time a Harrier launches, there is a state of high alert on the carrier, because every takeoff is critical all the time. And as the carrier turns into the wind, the fighters are cleared for launch by Commander Air, also called Wings, overseeing from FLICO, the hub of air operations at sea. From now on, it's clockwork precision as the Harriers roll down the runway, touch the exact end speed at the exact point on the edge of the inclined ski jump and get airborne. If they miss, it could be a straight dive into the sea. But all's well that starts well. Sea Harriers can also take off vertically like a helicopter, but as this burns more fuel and stresses the engine, vertical takeoffs are not practiced. The bombing sortie is uneventful as the Harriers roll into a dive for a rocket attack on their sea targets. Soon, it's time to recover these jump jets, a routine as complicated as the mission itself. Here, the pilot decelerates his aircraft to a virtual halt from about 160 knots, hovers in air, and then lands on the carrier like a helicopter. But this precise point landing is as dangerous as it is unique, because unlike other aircraft, there are no second chances. Here, when an aircraft comes into land, she has dumped out her excess fuel and therefore is in no position to attempt or afford a second landing. And contrary to perception, a hard and bouncy landing is better than a soft and smooth one.
We don't want the hot gases which are hitting the deck to be re-sucked into the engine and increasing the jet pipe temperatures. And also we want to kill the momentum of the aircraft so that after it touches down, it does not move from its position, because the deck, as you see, is very small. Right now it's not moving. In heavy sea states, in the rain, it's slippery and it's moving. We want to kill the momentum of the aircraft.
One of the points that came out in the discussions, and I read some literature somewhere, that not only can the Harrier stop in mid-flight like it does to land, but it can also apparently fly a little backwards. Is that true?
That's right. It can move backwards because our nozzles, which essentially give us the vectoring thrust capability, have a range of movement from fully aft, that is what we would say 0 degrees, to 98.5 degrees of the vertical, which means about 18.5 degrees pointing forwards. So those 18.5 degrees would give the aircraft
reverse gear, as in a car.
That's right. So you can, there are times when on the deck itself, for example, the way the aircraft are parked, the deck run is such that the aircraft actually has to move onto the tram line, as you can see, and thereafter moves back to the calculated deck run spot and thereafter gets airborne from that position. And it can also, when hovering in the air, move back to position onto the correct spot so that it can carry out a landing from there.
Again, there's something which I've picked up now on the Harrier, on the aircraft carrier, that when the Harrier comes into land, it must have a specific body weight. Anything more than that is not good for the Harrier. How do you get that weight right every time? How do you achieve that weight?
In V-stall regime, where it's coming into land, the wings don't produce any lift. It is the engine which is supporting the entire weight. So it is important that your engine thrust should exceed the aircraft weight. Now the aircraft weight, basic weight is fixed, and the max thrust is also fixed. The only thing which is variable is the payload. And in our context, it is the fuel which can be varied about. And which is what all pilots do, is prior to coming in for the landing, in a predetermined time and space, we jettison the fuel so that...
Which means throw the fuel out.
Absolutely. So as to get down to a weight which can be supported by the engine thrust. And more often than not, in the conditions of our operations, which are in the tropics, the temperatures preclude a second approach and landing.
So once you've thrown the fuel out and you miss the deck,
you're committed to land.
Right.
And therefore a very high degree of skill is required before a pilot qualifies on deck non-diversionary, to say that he doesn't have any way to go should he miss the deck, so that we don't aim to miss the deck at all.
Okay, Saurav, you are at that age group when you feel intellectually, emotionally at a crossroads, that you feel that you have probably made a choice. Some people are committed to the choice, professional choice. Some people feel that maybe, I could have gone in for something more lucrative in the commercial sector. So where do you stand?
Well, I think lucrative is hardly the question. It is what satisfies you in life. And ever since I was a kid, this has been my dream and I'm living my dream. And it is extremely satisfying professionally as well as personally.
You can't compensate that kind of passion with any amount of money.
And you cannot compensate the joy of flying.
I will quote Samuel Huntington, the great guru now of Clash of Civilizations, but in his earlier book, which was about the soldier and the state, he had argued that the military man is a manager of violence, as against the corporate man who's a manager of a corporate goal of finance. Yours is a weapon system which allows you to be extremely violent, and at the same time you have to exercise camaraderie and control. How do you balance both these management challenges?
Okay, there's an equally common saying about fighter pilots, is that aggression is the cornerstone of a true fighter pilot. But aggression has to be controlled, and which is what we inculcate among the young pilots joining our stream. They should have the right amount of aggression, and it should be focused at the right place.